Barbecue sauce. Kansas City barbecue sauce did not exist before the 20th century. Pitmasters smoked meat for hours and served it without sauce because the smoke was the flavor. Commercial barbecue sauce appeared in the 1940s when food companies realized they could bottle the finishing glaze that backyard cooks were applying. Kansas City style became the national standard because it photographed well and tasted universally appealing. Thick, sweet tomato-based, with molasses giving it a dark color and sticky texture. There are now over 100 commercial barbecue sauce brands in America. Every single one claims to be the original. None of them are.
Chimichurri. Chimichurri requires no cooking. Fresh parsley, oregano, garlic, red wine vinegar, olive oil, and red pepper flakes. Everything goes in raw. The acid does the work. Nobody knows exactly where the name comes from. One theory credits Basque immigrants in Argentina. Another credits British soldiers mispronouncing a Spanish phrase. Food historians have not settled it. What is settled is that chimichurri became the national condiment of Argentina and Uruguay simultaneously, appearing on every table at every parrilla without being ordered. It simply arrives. A sauce with an unknown origin and a disputed name became the defining condiment of an entire continent's meat culture.
Béarnaise. Béarnaise was invented in 1837 at a restaurant called Le Pavillon Henry IV outside Paris. The chef, Colonnet, accidentally over-reduced a tarragon sauce and added egg yolks to save it. The result was named after the Béarn region of France, the birthplace of King Henry IV. The sauce is egg yolks emulsified with clarified butter, finished with tarragon, shallots, and white wine vinegar reduction. It breaks at the wrong temperature and cannot be fixed once it separates. Professional chefs consider it the hardest classical French sauce to execute consistently. A kitchen accident in 1837 became the most technically demanding sauce in Western cooking.
Peppercorn sauce. Peppercorn sauce was developed in French bistro cooking in the 1960s when green peppercorns, previously used only as a pickling spice, began appearing in French markets. A chef, name unrecorded, deglazed a pan with cognac, added green peppercorns and cream, and produced something that changed steakhouse menus globally within a decade. The cognac flambé sap burns off the alcohol while leaving the flavor. The green peppercorns provide heat without the sharpness of black pepper. The cream rounds everything into something that coats without overwhelming. French bistros invented it, American steakhouses popularized it. Every chain restaurant has a version that is worse than both.
Buffalo sauce. Buffalo sauce was invented on October 30th, 1964 at the Anchor Bar in Buffalo, New York. Teressa Bellissimo combined Frank's RedHot sauce with melted butter in a ratio of approximately 2:1 and tossed chicken wings in it. The recipe has two ingredients. Frank's RedHot is made from aged cayenne peppers, vinegar, garlic, and salt. The butter cuts the acidity and adds richness. Teressa never patented the recipe. Anyone can make it. Everyone did. Frank's RedHot sales increased so dramatically after the buffalo wing went national that the company credits Teressa Bellissimo with saving their business. A two-ingredient sauce invented in one night became a $1 billion condiment category.
Teriyaki. Teriyaki is a cooking technique, not a sauce. The word combines teri, meaning luster, and yaki, meaning grill. The glaze, soy sauce, mirin, and sake, reduced until glossy, is applied during cooking to create a lacquered surface that caramelizes under heat. Japanese cooks developed it in the 17th century. American teriyaki sauce, thicker, sweeter, and often containing cornstarch and brown sugar, was adapted by Japanese-American restaurants in Hawaii and the Pacific Northwest in the 1960s to suit Western palates. Kikkoman began selling bottled teriyaki sauce in the 1970s. The American version now outsells the Japanese original in global markets. Japan developed the technique, America bottled it and sold it back.
Red wine jus. Red wine jus is what happens when a French chef refuses to waste anything, roasting bones, adding aromatics, deglazing with an entire bottle of red wine, and reducing for hours until the liquid becomes glossy and intensely concentrated. The result is not a sauce in the traditional sense. It is an extraction. Every atom of flavor from the bones, the wine, and the vegetables compressed into a few tablespoons of liquid. Bordelaise, the classic version from Bordeaux, adds bone marrow at the end. The marrow melts into the reduction and adds a richness that no other ingredient can replicate. French restaurants charge for this accordingly. The time investment alone justifies the price.
Garlic butter sauce. Compound butter is one of the oldest sauce formats in French cooking. Butter mixed with aromatics, rolled in plastic wrap, chilled, and sliced into discs placed on hot food to melt. Garlic butter became the American version of this technique when Italian-American restaurants began serving it with bread in the 1950s. The combination of fat, garlic, and heat produces allicin compounds that are responsible for one of the most universally recognized food smells in the world. Research shows that the smell of garlic butter cooking is one of the few aromas that triggers hunger responses in people who are not hungry. A simple French technique became the most effective appetite stimulant in the restaurant industry.
Mushroom sauce. Mushroom cream sauce traces to French cuisine, where duxelles, finely chopped mushrooms cooked down until almost dry, formed the base of dozens of classical preparations. The cream version, sautéed mushrooms deglazed with white wine and finished with heavy cream and thyme, became a steakhouse standard in America in the mid-20th century. Mushrooms contain glutamates, the compounds responsible for umami, in concentrations comparable to aged Parmesan and cured meat. This is why mushroom sauce satisfies people who believe they cannot enjoy a meal without meat. The sauce does not pretend to replace anything. It simply delivers the same flavor signals through fungi.
Blue cheese sauce. Blue cheese sauce is built on mold. The distinctive flavor and blue-green veining of Roquefort, Gorgonzola, and Stilton comes from penicillium mold introduced during aging. The mold produces enzymes that break down fats and proteins into intensely flavored compounds that no other cheese can replicate. Roquefort has been produced in the caves of Cambalu in southern France since at least the 11th century. The European Union protects it with designation of origin status. American blue cheese sauce, crumbled blue cheese mixed with sour cream, mayonnaise, and buttermilk, became the original dipping sauce for buffalo wings in 1964. Buffalo, New York still considers blue cheese the only acceptable accompaniment. They are correct.
Honey mustard. Romans mixed honey and mustard seeds centuries before either had a commercial market. Medieval European monks produced mustard commercially and sold it as medicine as much as food. The modern American honey mustard, equal parts honey and Dijon or yellow mustard, became the defining dipping sauce of fast food chicken in the 1980s when chains needed something that appealed to customers who found plain mustard too sharp and plain ketchup too childish. McDonald's introduced it as a McNugget sauce in 1983. It immediately became the most requested dipping sauce in the chain's history. A Roman condiment combination that medieval monks sold as medicine became the most requested fast food dipping sauce in American history.
Alabama white barbecue sauce. Alabama white sauce was invented in 1925 by Robert Gibson at Big Bob Gibson Barbecue in Decatur, Alabama. It contains mayonnaise, apple cider vinegar, horseradish, black pepper, and lemon juice. No tomato, no sugar, no smoke. Everything that defines standard American barbecue sauce is absent. Gibson developed it specifically for smoked chicken, where the acidity of the vinegar cuts through the fat and the mayonnaise base clings to the skin. The sauce remained almost entirely unknown outside northern Alabama for 80 years. Food writers discovered it in the 2000s and declared it the most underrated regional sauce in America. A 1925 Alabama invention finally went national a century after it was created.